So in my personal opinion, if you could shoot cars and make it look good, then I think that you can shoot absolutely anything. What's up? I'm Logan Thompson with Speedstars Media. I've worked with brands like Porsche of Clearwater, Cletus McFarland, and a couple other private clients and also other bigger businesses. But that's not the point. The point of today's video that I want to get into is why I personally think that automotive videography and photography is a great way to actually get into the film and photo industry. I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I'm going to keep it real with you. You're going to see a bunch of different shirts in this video. I had a bunch of stuff going on yesterday, so I filmed the video sporadically, and then it's also daytime now. So, video stuff happened, things changed. I'll be in different shirts, but don't mind it. So the first topic I want to go over is that it forces you to basically learn everything. You have to understand lighting. You have to understand exposure. You have to understand pacing, and you have to be able to do all of this very quickly. Like, this is not one of those things where you're out on a car shoot and you have hours and hours and hours to do that. That's just not how that works. You have to combat lighting. You have to combat other vehicles on the road, maybe. You might even have to combat weather. Like, I live in Florida, so I constantly have to deal with rainstorms. Like, it could be sunny in a shoot, and then 5 minutes later, it's pouring rain. So the atmosphere can change very quickly on you. So some of the things you're dealing with are like harsh light. Sometimes you have a client that just needs you to shoot in the middle of the day, and they have a black car. And for those of you who aren't in the automotive scene, shooting a black car in the middle of the day is one of the worst things that you ever will have to do, because you get that extremely harsh light and then it creates massive reflections. So later in this video, I'll be talking about kind of gear you need and kind of gear that I believe that will help you. One of those things is definitely a CPL, because cutting reflections is so important. You also have to understand how to deal with fast motion, and you also have to understand timelines, both an editing timeline and then also the timeline that your client is kind of looking for. Something else you have to consider is that if your timing's off or you have a setting improperly, sometimes you literally only have one chance to get that specific shot. There might have been a clearing in traffic that you won't get again. There might have been a specific bird flying by that you wanted in your shot. That bird's not going to fly by that camera again. So it's all types of nuances that layer into what makes this so much more complicated. But it teaches you how to be very reactive, and it also teaches you how to be an on-the-go videographer and photographer. And that is a skill set that so many other industries don't necessarily develop for years. Whereas if you're doing automotive, it teaches you to do that immediately. Like, you are required to. You will lose those moments if you are not on top of what you have to do. Been there, done that. I have missed many a moment. It kind of comes with the territory, but it's about how you compensate, or it's about how you make up for that, and what you do next determines how the video will look or the flow of the video, etc. So the second topic I'd like to discuss is that it basically makes other niches and industries you try to get into easier. Trust me, after shooting cars, everything becomes a lot easier because everything's kind of more predictable. You can create more controlled environments. Like for me, for example, I do a lot of commercial work. So I go out and I'll film like a graduation, or I'll go out and I'll film like a testimonial or something like that along those lines. The reason it makes things easier is because you're already used to that harsh lighting. You're used to like fast-paced subjects. So when you get into like a wedding or an interview or even product shoots, it becomes a lot simpler and a lot easier, because those are things that are typically, maybe minus weddings, that are in a more controlled environment or a totally controlled environment. Arguably, this is one of the most important parts, but it helps you build instincts, and I think that's really crucial because it helps you be in a mindset where you're always thinking ahead and you are ready to troubleshoot at any given time, and that is really crucial to honestly any part of videography or photography as a whole, but especially automotive. Cat cam. So the third topic I want to get into is the pros and cons of the automotive photo and film industry. One of the first pros is that it forces you to learn and adapt very quickly, like I just previously mentioned, especially in high pressure environments. There are a lot of people who have high-end cars, a lot of dealerships, brands, etc. that have high-end cars. They have a lot of high-end expectations. If you think that you're going to show up to a shoot for McLaren or Ferrari and they're not going to have the most out-of-the-world expectations for you, well, let me tell you, you've got something else coming. It makes you very adaptable and makes you sharp with your equipment. Like, you understand your proper exposure. You understand your white balance. You understand every aspect of what it means to be using a camera. This last pro is kind of a double-edged sword. It's an extremely oversaturated market, but that forces you to work really hard, because just a cinematic edit isn't going to cut it. You have to understand how to make your edits feel unique, whether that's through sound effects, it's through a specific color design that you do that's unique to you. Basically, if you want to be the best, you have to work for it. And that is a pro because it makes you work so much harder than a lot of other industries would. So obviously now into the cons and kind of going back to the discussion of the oversaturation of the market, it's very competitive. It is very difficult. You got to realize, like, unless you're a top dog, like a couple examples would be like Miker Karot, probably one of my favorite cinematographers. He does fantastic work. Or you're revolutionizing the industry, kind of like there was a guy who came into the industry a couple years ago named Ronin Projects. He's still a big guy in the industry, and he really like revolutionized like suction cup shots and sound design, which we had not really seen on kind of like the Instagram car content format. And then you also have longtime veterans in the industry like Washington's Media, my homie Brandon. Like those type of people are, you know, been in the industry forever, so they already have a massive presence. So straight up, like, if you want to be in the top dog, like, you either have to be super unique or super competitive, because just like your basic cinematic, you know, edit isn't really going to cut it anymore. So this is kind of one of the last cons, and this could honestly be kind of argued for any industry, but specifically for automotive, especially since I'm in that niche. High effort does not necessarily guarantee success. And that's been something that's kind of kicked me in the pants over the years, is that I've put a lot of high effort in, but I have not always been super consistent. And honestly, if you want to make it in this industry, and I'll use one of my homies as an example, TC Exposures, he has been extremely consistent, and he's been putting out high quality videos, and it brought him from, oh goodness, I think he followed me like maybe 3 months ago, and we became friends from there. And he had around 19,000 followers, and I think he just pushed over 60,000. So obviously you can do it. He's a fantastic example of you can do it. But again, one of the cons is that it doesn't, just because you're making good videos, if you're not consistent, there's not really a guarantee that you're going to succeed in this industry. And that can honestly really be detrimental for a lot of people. And the last topic we're going to talk about is that the automotive industry is a lot harder to break into if you didn't start off as such. Because let's say you're new to cameras, right? It's going to expose your weaknesses as a creator. It's going to expose like if you know the ins and outs of a camera, if you know and understand lighting, if you understand pacing and etc. Like, it's really going to dictate for you whether or not you actually have an understanding of it. And the reason I say this is you can come from other industries, like you can come from the music industry, you can come from the wedding industry, you come from all different types of industries, but nothing is quite like automotive. Automotive is kind of in its own category, honestly, because it requires so much consistency, it requires so much time, and it truly, again, I really harped on this, but it requires a lot of understanding. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, your videos are going to look bad. They're going to look like there's no pacing, there's going to look like there's no structure, they're probably not going to look very like, you're probably going to look like you've never edited a car video before. But that's why I argue that starting out in this specific niche of the photography and videography industry is really beneficial, because it forces you to learn and understand those weaknesses like that. Like, you have to understand what you're doing to be doing well in the space. Like, basically, it's a very steep learning curve, but that's what makes it such a fantastic niche, and almost like a teacher to really help you just understand cameras as a whole. Because once again, if you can shoot a car video and make it look good, then you can make anything look good. But yeah, that'll conclude it for today's video. And essentially, I just want to, retouch on the points. It's a great niche to get into, and it's going to force you to really learn those skills with a camera, or you're going to fail. Again, it really does demand that consistency, time, and patience. And if you are able to stick to it and stick through it, trust me, it will make you such a good videographer and photographer, because you will basically just understand all the fundamentals that you need for almost every other industry you go into. Like, when I have done, commercial work, I don't always know what I'm doing right off the bat, but I adapt very quickly because I chose a niche initially that forced me to adapt no matter what. So basically, if you want to learn fast and you want to really hone in your skills, this niche will absolutely force you to. But yeah, thank you for tuning in today's video. Again, I'm Logan Humpson with SpeedStars Media. I'm going to be making a lot more content like this, kind of like realistic breakdowns, what it takes to kind of do things, I'm going to be giving you guys more like BTS of shoots and stuff I do. So, but yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next one.